Thank you for coming in today, Carly. I want you to know that everything that we discussed today will be confidential and kept between me and you, unless there's a case of child abuse, elderly abuse, or I think you're going to harm yourself or somebody else. So, what brings you in today?
Well, I think I need to talk to somebody. My kids are all in therapy, and I think that I need to see somebody as well because their dad walked out about 6, 7 months ago, and it's been really hard on me and the kids. And there's been a lot of things in between that have really just stressed me out and overwhelmed me. Not long after we split up, there was an altercation between me and his new girlfriend, and I ended up going to jail because I punched her in the face. And then a few days after that, Children's Services was called on me with allegations that I abused my kids and neglect them, which that case was closed, but I still feel like I need to talk to somebody.
Okay. Well, that's a lot. What specifically happened between you and your ex's girlfriend?
Well, after we split up, they started driving by my friends' houses and following me places in public and just like taunting me, flipping me off, yelling at me, saying stuff out the window. And then I went to Kroger's to get food for dinner one night, and they were there and they kept driving by. They started yelling for the kids, so my kids took off running and jumped in the backseat of their car. And I walked up to the car and I told him to get the kids out. And then his girlfriend jumped in the middle and put her finger in my face and told me she had respect for me. And I told her it was none of her business, and I punched her in the face. And then I went and called the cops and told them about the incident because I just went down that same morning and filed a restraining order on both of them. And I called them to let them know that there had been an altercation. I went to jail for the night. We came home the next day. About 2 days later, Children's Services called me and said that there was an open case.
Wow, okay. That's a lot of altercation and anger built up. Do you think you learned anything from the situation, or do you think you could have handled it in a different way?
I took corrective thinking classes, and those helped a lot on dealing with situations and how I see them now. And yeah, I honestly should have just let them take off with the kids instead of punching her and going to jail. And I should just let them take off with the kids like they intended to do, and then just called the cops and let them know that they were taking off with my kids. And then they would have been in trouble instead of me getting in trouble is the way I look at it. And I know that now. That's what I should have done.
Well, I think it's also important to remember that humans there's fight or flight mode, and when you think your children are in danger or something, then sometimes you act a certain way. So I just want you to know that I don't think you really did anything wrong when you reacted the way you did. So what happened in the relationship with your ex that led up to you guys breaking up? Did he just leave you for some girl, or was there other things that happened?
We'd have been arguing. We argued a lot. We didn't really have communication. There were a lot of physical fights between us that kids have seen, been around. He was very temperamental. He was just punch holes in the wall and not over stupid little things. But before he left, things seemed like they were getting better. We were talking more. We were doing stuff together as a couple, getting babysitters, and it felt good. But then one night, he just decided to leave, and the next day, I found out he was with some other girl. So I don't know. I guess they probably been talking for a while behind my back, and I didn't know, or whatever. So he left, and
Okay.
that was it.
Have you heard from him since the altercation at Kroger?
Yeah, because I wasn't able to get the restraining order in effect because I was in jail and didn't make it to the court date the next morning. He's He had called me a few times here and there. He showed up once, crying at my doorstep, and then I don't know. I think he's just confused. He just drives by my apartment and stuff. Still, I don't talk to him anymore. Haven't talked to him in a few months.
So, do you think he still? Do you think he wants to be with you? How does it make you feel when he's driving by your apartment at night?
It makes me feel like he still cares about something, or he just can't let go. But I think he's really confused.
Does it make you feel endangered at all?
Sometimes, because I know what he's capable of doing.
Do you think he'd ever hurt you?
I don't know. It just depends on the situation or how angry he can get. Because there have been times that he's punched me in my face one time over the last 7 years, and there have been incidences of him pushing me or smacking me, and I've hit him back. So I know what he's capable of doing. But just that he's an angry person, when things don't go his way, he likes to punch holes in walls and kick things and break things, and he needs mental help. That's how I feel.
Did he ever hit the kids?
No, he was more verbally abusive to the kids. He would tell our daughter all the time that should just send her the hell downtown and make her live with a foster family. That he can't deal with her. That she's a little bitch. Things like that.
Okay.
That wasn't good. I think that's just as bad.
I completely agree with that. How was he as a dad in other ways to you? Was there any positive aspects of your relationship or how he was as a father?
He wasn't a bad father. He's just more like a distant and kind of MIA father. There are times I'd ask him to go to the park with us or do things with us, and he just didn't want to. But when it comes to, going fishing with his brother, and his brother's got his kids, then he might take them because he feels obligated to. He didn't do very much with them. Might take them for a walk down the street, but he never really did like the cooking or the cleaning or help get them bathed or get their clothes out. I think out of the last 7 years, he may have actually taken them to daycare and picked them up probably a handful of times. And most of the time, he was gone fishing or scrapping, or he'd be sitting at the bar with his mom. So he wasn't here most of the time during the evening to help with the schedule and the bedtime routine, homework, things like that. Definitely wasn't very good at discipline them. He kind of just let them do whatever.
It sounds like he was pretty absent throughout your relationship and you took a lot of responsibilities on to take care of the kids.
Yeah.
How has your life changed since he's been gone?
It's been difficult, but I've had to learn to become more independent and take on more responsibility. And it's not bad. I'm actually able to do more now than I was before because I don't have somebody holding me back or accusing me of things. So now I can finally go ahead and get a degree in school and do the things that I've been wanting to do as far as getting a career and taking care of myself and taking care of the kids.
What type of things did he accuse you of?
He always accused me of cheating on him. If I got dressed up or wore makeup, he'd be like, who are you trying to impress? Who's at work that you're going to go see? Things like that.
And was that true?
No.
So you were kind of trying to do positive things to help the relationship and it just kind of backfired on you?
Actually, I did. And I'm not saying that I'm innocent. We had our downfalls and I've caught him talking to somebody. I've talked to people. Never, physically cheated on him. I hung out with other guys behind his back. I don't know if he's actually physically cheated on me. But at this point, I don't think I really care.
Okay. So what do you do now that's different in your life than before? Do you go to the parks more with the kids? Can you tell me about that?
Me and the kids have built a bigger bond since he's been gone. Instead of me wasting my time worrying about what he's doing and being greedy, like if he didn't want to go to the park, I'd be like, well then fuck it, I'm not going to the park either. And that was not good because the kids missed out on things that were beneficial to them. And I wasn't thinking about that. But so now that he's gone, we go to the park, we go feed the deer, we go the church. That was a big one. We started going to church after Kyle left. I go out on the weekends to my friends and bring the kids with me and let them play with her kids. And then in the summertime, we go to the river and go canoeing and tubing and, take a lunch. We do a lot. Go to movies, shopping. We've done a lot more than we have when Kyle was here.
That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that you kind of centered your life around the kids and you do a lot of family-oriented things. A lot of times in this situation, people will kind of ignore their kids and go do other things. So it's really good that you're focusing on the children. How have the kids reacted to all this, to their dad leaving?
Baby doesn't really understand, but Hunter and Brooke, since they're a little bit older, they feel like Kyle's new girlfriend kind of took him from them. They, especially Brooke, have been very emotional. It's kind of like an out of sight, out of mind deal. She's been having nightmares a lot. She won't sleep by herself anymore. She keeps bringing up things that have happened in our relationship between us fighting, and she's down telling people like, my daddy pulled a knife out of my mom, my daddy's gonna kidnap me. I don't want to sleep in my room because I think my dad's watching me through my window. I think he's gonna come and take me. And so she won't sleep by herself, so that's why I got her in therapy. Her tantrums that she was having have completely almost disappeared, but now she's just got more of like this emotional anxiety all the time. She's worried about leaving me. She's become more attached to me. And she's got like a separation anxiety from me and my mom. And she feels like if she leaves me that she's not going to see me again. And I think that's because Kyle's left and she hasn't seen him again. Mm-hmm. And she thinks that's going to happen with me. Hunter, he's really mad. He's upset. He says, I don't like him. I don't like Blair. Blair took my daddy from me. He's gotten pretty upset. I asked him if he wanted to see his dad. He said, no, I don't want to see him. If I do see him, I just want to punch him in his face. It makes me mad. So that's kind of where I stand with them too, and that's why I got them in therapy, because they need to talk to somebody.
How old are your children?
Hunter's 6, Brooke's 5, and Hudson will be 2 in April.
I think that's a reasonable way for them to react to their father not being in their lives anymore. Have you realized anything with the baby? Any differences in his behavior, or is he just too young to really?
He's kind of too young to really understand, but I kind of feel like he does remember some of the fighting and that, because there are times where I've played around and play fight with my friend Cole, and baby gets really worked up and starts screaming. He's like, no, mommy, no. And I'm like, that's probably because he remembers those fights between me and his dad, and he thinks that this is a fighting incident where it's really just us playing around. So I think he does know. I think he does kind of remember a few things, but not all of it.
Okay. So, your friend Cole, is he a man?
Yeah.
Have the children reacted to him coming around? Are they happy?
I think they like having a guy around. Kind of fills that void that they have with their dad not being there. Where he's not like taking on that dad role, he's just a friend. They confide in him, they talk to him, he plays with them sometimes. He'll play video games with Hunter. Brooke loves talking to him. And I feel like it's kind of good because they're not used to not having their dad around, that when somebody else is there, he kind of just steps in there and they feel like they can look up to him.
Sounds like he spends a lot more time with them than their dad did too, so.
We do. We do stuff together with our kids on like a friend basis. They don't see a problem with that. We don't like display of any public affection or anything. We don't do anything like that around the kids. We're not really together, so I don't see a point in that. I don't want my kids to be confused. But I think they look at him more as like a friend than like a dad. They know that that's not their dad.
Does Cole support you? Like, he's a good friend to you, so you have him around for emotional support and.
Definitely for emotional support, considering that him and his girlfriend have been together 7 years and they broke up around the same time me and Kyle did. We've been able to kind of lean on each other in that aspect. And when it comes to like needing my car fixed or needing help with diapers or something, he will help me. And I'm glad that I have him there for that support, because somebody else can't help me with that.
It's really great that you have someone like that in your life. What does he think about everything? Does he have you guys discussed what's been going on?
He's not really happy with the whole situation. Kyle's called his phone a couple of times, just cussing him out and going off on him like, "You're not my kid's dad. You're not going to step in and be daddy to my kids." And Cole's like, "I know, I'm not. But if they are comfortable with being around me and they want to talk to me and they want me to play Barbie dolls with them or play video games, I will do that. That's just me being a friend. That's not me trying to hurt anybody's feelings or overstep boundaries."
Mm-hmm.
So Kyle wasn't happy about it.
Do you feel like that's something Kyle should respect? Is there someone there helping care for his children and loving his children?
Yeah, I do. Because he, of all people, should know how that feels.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter's not his son, and he stuck with me through the whole pregnancy and was there when I had him, and he raised him like his own. So I feel like he should understand that, and he shouldn't be upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not there because of his own reasons, and it's not anybody's fault but his own, because he won't take care of the things that he needs to take care of. He should have taken a mental evaluation, and his children's services wouldn't want him around the kids, because this whole thing turned around into a domestic violence case instead of me neglecting and hurting my kids. The caseworker spoke with daycare and talked to school, and they said, "Kids have been here for years. If we ever thought they were being abused or neglected, we would have called a long time ago. We've never seen bruises on them. We've never had any incidences. So I don't know where this come from." But then the caseworker spoke with the kids, and the kids told her that, "No, my mommy doesn't hit me. My daddy hits my mommy." And then it kind of just turned a 360 from there. And then they focused more on the domestic violence and the harm that it could cause with the kids and the emotional damage, and just the violence in general wasn't good. So that's where they pretty much stepped in at that point and kind of just turned it around and took it a different way.
Okay. So from what I'm hearing is a CPS case, Child Protective Services case, was opened because of the dispute between you and his new girlfriend at Kroger.
They said part of it was that, but then they said when the phone call was made, there were allegations of me abusing my kids, like physically harming them and neglecting them. And when they attacked the daycare and school, they pretty much ruled that out. Like, look, her kids are clean, they look healthy, they're up to date on shots, they see a doctor regularly, they're in school on time, they don't have bruises or marks on them. So the way that they talk, they're smart. We don't see any signs of neglect or abuse, so they pretty much ruled it out. But like before they came to that conclusion, they had spoke to the kids, and the kids had brought up me and their dad fighting. Then they kind of just took the case that way and just pretty much dropped out the neglect and abuse. They said there's no evidence that she hurts her kids. She's got food. Every time we come over, she's cooking. Her house is clean. So, like, we don't see any kind of type of abuse or neglect. We definitely don't. So they just dropped that part of it and took it on with domestic violence. They even dug deeper and they called around. I told them that there were some phone calls made that were reported. They weren't charges were never pressed of me and Kyle arguing domestic disputes. So they did some digging. They found a ton of police reports that were taken for domestic abuse against Kyle, and that's when this started to unravel. So we come across all these reports of domestic abuse, what the kids had said, how the kids felt about the situation, and it just went on from there.
So, according to Child Protective Services, they don't see Kyle to be a fit parent to have to see the children?
No, because when the caseworker called Kyle to meet with him, she also took a domestic violence advocate with her, and they both seen Kyle. And the domestic advocate said that she was able to identify characteristics of somebody who was domestically violent by how they acted. And how Kyle acted, he was more like hostile. He was aggravated. He was cussing both the caseworker and her out for trying to make an appointment to see him. He wouldn't cooperate with the phone call. He wouldn't tell him where he lived. He wouldn't tell him where he was working. He kept telling them they were effing crazy, that he didn't need to get mentally evaluated, and they kind of were just like, okay, now we can see he's a very hard person to deal with, and that he gets upset and angry very quickly. So now we can kind of see for ourselves, like, this is the kind of person that he is, and so they had no desire to really deal with him after that.
So, it sounds like everything that you said towards Kyle, they found evidence supporting it, and then everything that Kyle said towards you was kind of just like thrown out the window because they never found anything that said that was true.
Yeah, pretty much.
What positive things do you do, like, to cope with how you feel? Because I know it can't be as easy as...
I try to stay away from home as much as possible. Go to my friends' houses. I need to talk. I kind of, when Kyle left, I kind of felt like I needed to get my friends back. I needed to know what it was like to be by myself and take care of myself, like physically, make doctor's appointments that I hadn't done in years, dentist, doctor, make myself feel good. Go to the tanning bed, buy me some new shoes, even if it's like a $2 belly button ring, whatever, those things make me feel good, and that's what I need to feel, is feel good about myself. Or taking the kids and doing stuff with friends and their kids has been the most helpful. Kind of have somebody that I can talk to, but then have fun with at the same time. So I just decided to make new friends, make more friends, that way have more options available to me, and when I feel like I don't want to be here, I have plenty of places that I can go to kind of get my mind off of it. If I stay here in this apartment for too long, especially by myself, then I start to get a little upset and saddened because there's a lot of memories here and those just don't go away. So the less time I spend here, the more it helps.
Well, that's really good. At least you're not isolating yourself. You're getting out, you're doing things, making new friends, doing things for you. Have you discussed your problem with others? Have other people given you advice? Or have you learned anything from others? The new people you're hanging out with?
I realize that a lot of my friends that I have now, like, we all can relate in some ways. And it's nice to have somebody to relate to, so we can just sit there and rant, complain about it, get it out of our system, sit down, drink some coffee. It's nice to know that I actually have friends, because I didn't have very many friends when I was with Kyle, and I didn't really do a whole lot with my family. With my family, and then, like, my sisters, my mom, my dad. And so now that I'm not so isolated from my family and my friends, I feel like that's a good thing to get back, is to spend more time with my family and my friends and kind of build those bonds that should have been there.
Do you feel like Kyle isolated you from all that stuff?
A lot. Because I was more worried about how he would react to situations if I wanted to go out with my sisters or if I wanted to go out with my friends. My phone would probably be blown up. Where are you at? What are you doing? Who are you with? There were a few times I went out with my friends and I went to the bar with a bunch of girlfriends because her boyfriend had just killed himself. And he kept texting me, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? I'm like, I'm with Heather. Not doing anything. We're sitting here drinking. We're at another bar. What bar are you at? Another bar. Why won't you just tell me what bar you're at? I'm like, we are at another bar. That's what the bar is called, is another bar. And we got all bent out of shape over it. So then I quit going out because I didn't want to hear it.
So you really
sat inside to make him happy.
Couldn't really enjoy yourself or be yourself with him. So, hearing all that, do you foresee anything in the future, whether it be a year, 10 years down the road, where Kyle is in the kid's life or your life?
I think he is having a quarter life crisis, and he just doesn't know what he wants. I feel like he needs to see what else is out there, see if somebody else can do or can't do the same things that I can or can't do. Maybe he needs, I don't know, I could see him being there in the future, but there are going to be boundaries and rules, and there's only so much that I'm going to deal with. For one, if he feels like he wants to be in the kids' lives, even around me or in my life in the future, then he needs to get medicine. He needs to see somebody and talk to somebody. He needs to be independent and get on his feet and be able to keep a job, be able to keep the bills and stuff paid. Those are things that he needs to take care of. But if he doesn't, that's only his fault. There's only so much that I can say. And there's not much I can do. I can't make him do those things. So it would be totally up to him, if that's what he wants. But yeah, I could see him being around us in the future, and maybe even us just even being civil if we're not together. But his attitude definitely needs to change.
Okay. Well, hearing everything, it sounds like you have the best possible outcome or attitude from this whole situation. It just seems like you've grown and learned from it while he's kind of just wallowing in self-pity. So keep continuing what you're doing. And it's almost like you've just been trying to move forward and better your life, and it's kind of still there trying to bring you down in some ways.
I do feel like that.
Is there anything else that you think you want to touch on today?
So, I think I have a lot of guilt. I feel like when me and Kyle, it really went wrong when a few years ago we were losing everything, and I ended up pregnant, and I told him, I said, I really feel like getting an abortion would be the best option right now because I don't want to bring another kid into the struggle that we're already going through. He said he gave me money, and I got an abortion. And he never really told me how he felt about it, but then when he left, he told me that he hated me for doing that. And then a few months later, I ended up pregnant again, and I lost it. And I feel like we kind of fell apart from there. And I hate being by myself sometimes, and I hate being in the bathroom by myself. And this really gets me down because I have a lot of guilt, and I feel like that was what caused a lot of the fighting and the shit that happened after it happened. Things got rough. And I wish he'd told me how he really felt, and maybe it would have changed the way shit ended. But it seems like all he wants to do is just beat me down over it. But he really didn't ever talk about anything. And if I'd have known, it'd probably be different.
Well, from what you told me, he sounds like he says things to you to manipulate your mind, and just like you said, it sounds like he says things to you to tear you down. And at that point in your relationship, when you decided to get that abortion, he agreed, right? He gave you the money. So now, months down the road, he just decides to change his mind. Do you see how he can maybe just be manipulating you and making you feel bad?
The domestic advocate said that is definitely one of the characteristics of somebody being domestically violent is that they were manipulative.
Mm-hmm. So just any time that you do have to communicate with him, I want you to keep that in mind, that any of the negative things he says, he doesn't have control over your feelings or your life anymore. He can't make you feel low anymore because you're better than that. What are some things that people tell you that you do well?
It said that I should be proud of myself because not many people, as young as I am, have the energy or even care to get up in the morning and get their kids ready and drop them off and be where they have to be at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So I should just be proud of things that I can do because I'm doing it by myself, and it takes a lot of strength to be able to do things like that by yourself and make sure like it's not just one, it's not just two, it's three kids that need my love and need my attention, and I'm able to give that to them. I'm able to help them with homework, and I'm able to keep a roof over their head and food in their stomachs, and they've got a place to sleep. He said that I should just be proud that I can do that much.
Yeah, and that's right. You are a strong woman. From everything I've heard you tell me today, you're strong. You're going to get a degree, something that you never did when you were with Kyle. You hanging out with new friends, going out, doing more things with the kids, and just happier. From what you told me, you're way happier now. So just try to keep focusing on the positive things.
It's definitely what I've been doing. Looking around my apartment all these years, I wanted nice things, and I wouldn't want to buy new things because I knew they'd get destroyed. So now that he's gone, I'm able to buy things and appreciate them more because I know that I was able to do it by myself. And it's nice to be able to have something decent, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me feel good about myself.
Yes. I'm glad that you're able to focus on those positive things and keep moving forward with your life.
That's all I can do.
Well, thank you for coming and seeing me today. I think this is a really great session, and I'd love to meet with you again. Would you like that?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.